3, 2, 1. We are recording. Go away.
All right, guys. So we're back for another episode of Cutler Cast. We are here with my most. You're actually my favorite, Miss Bikini Olympia. I told you that before. You were all shy about it. Ashley K, welcome to our podcast.
For having me. I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching your podcast, so it's kind of cool to be part of it now.
Do you remember when I told you you were my favorite?
I do remember, but I thought, you're just saying these things. It's just some fluff, but you said it on your podcast, and now I believe it.
So let's.
You told us everyone.
Well, you know what? Your first year was my last, 2013. And I remember you kind of set the standard on physiques, and we're going to talk a little bit about it's kind of migrated to a lot of different things. Posing's different. And we were just talking, like when I walked in and we were talking about, you're a bodybuilder. What do you feel like when people say, oh, you consider you a bodybuilder? Don't you think anyone that goes in the gym and works on their physique is a bodybuilder?
I suppose if you could look at it like that. And I will say, to be fair, before bikini became very popular, like, people would be like, oh, you're a bodybuilder, and like think it like I'm flexing on stage like you. And I'm like, you see, I'm like, not that kind of.
But you were in the gym trying to build your body.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about GOAT status, and that's kind of how we got into the crossover. So I walked in, and Matt said, the GOAT's in the house, but he wasn't referring to me.
Well, because
How many wins now?
43 IFBB pro win.
so like I was saying, there's an argument for people to say someone can point at someone and say they're a GOAT, and there has to be some type of resume attached, whether it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whether it's Ronnie, or whether it's Phil, or even Iris Kyle. People forget she has 10. They forget Adela Garcia has 8. Dorian Yates has 6. But Dexter as well has the most, I think it's 29 open wins, but you have over 40, and you want to get how many?
My goal is to reach 50 pro wins by the end of 2024.
So
I love that because she's like, well, my goal is by the end of. She didn't say the end of.
no,
Oh,
that's big. That's 7 wins in a calendar year. There's people that don't have 7 in their whole career.
7 times next year. I won 6 this year, and it was kind of a light year for me. Not with wins necessarily, but I only competed 9 times. But I usually compete more, so I'm going to have to really be active on the competition scene next year. So I'm going to have a very busy year. So we'll see if I can do it. I'll give it my best.
So that means you're going to hurt a lot of feelings this year. Are you going to become an enemy?
I hope so.
I love that.
She's a serial
Winner. No, but I mean, look, if somebody doesn't like it, then they should go beat you.
That's the way I think of it. A lot of people have a lot to say about that, and they feel as if I'm taking Olympia spots. And I just sit back in my chair with my evil laugh, saying, too bad. Oh, well.
I know that you're not arrogant about it because, I mean, you've fell short on a couple of shows in 23, right?
I didn't win 3 shows.
The Olympia would be one, right?
Olympia, Arnold, and the Pittsburgh Pro. Mm-hmm.
Which I know for me, like when there was a stint where I was winning everything.
Yeah.
And I remember I lost to Dexter, the GNC Show of Strength, and that was like the 2000 year where 2003, I won everything, right? Except the Olympia. And then I was like, oh, I can beat all the rest of these guys. And then it's like the person you beat prior, now all of a sudden they come forward and beat you. It's very, I feel like the bikini competition is like a lot closer than bodybuilding in a sense, right? Because I feel like the criteria constantly, depending on who's on stage, it's judged different. Do you feel that way sometimes?
Yeah, with bikini, there's more gray area, I would say. I would assume it's harder to judge than like bodybuilding because it's like the biggest, leanest, most electrical guy typically wins, right? Unless there's some weird factor going on. But for bikini, there's that gray area. Like how lean is too lean? How soft is too soft? How muscular is too muscular? And who are you standing next to? Because like if I'm standing next to a really muscular girl, and maybe there's like 5 muscular girls in the top call out, I'm gonna look super small. So then it's like, who are you standing next to? But it's very interesting too with the bikini division because girls can carry body fat differently, and some girls look better softer. I mean, we've seen some competitors, they look better softer, some look better leaner, some do better when they are softer, and that's like their look. So there's more variations of conditioning levels, I would feel like, for bikini, and levels of muscularity.
And that's changed all the way, because I feel like in 13 and 14, like you set the standard for like the tie-ins, like building up, like, cause listen, I started an era where no one trained their glutes, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, it becomes like kind of that's a day. I don't know how many days you train like your glutes or hamstrings several times a week or.
Twice.
Okay. So, I mean, people's routines kind of change, but you kind of set that standard. And I feel like, you know, that's kind of got like a little bit overdone, and now they've kind of pulled it back. So comparing 2013 versus 2023, 10 years, and they're crazy, right? We were talking about this earlier. Do you feel like they've had to change the look from when you won the first year?
So I would say not necessarily they had to change the look. It just evolved as a sport. So 2009 was the first bikini Olympia, right? So that means that's still in 2013 was still somewhat new, you know? So not only did the bikini division evolve, the other divisions evolved as well. Women's physique, figure, you name it. But I'm very aware the fact that in my look in 2013, 14 and 15 for that matter, the years I won the Olympia, honestly, that physique probably wouldn't even turn pro now. I doubt it would. It would be too small and too soft.
So the shoulder wasn't tapped as much. The poses.
I was just going to ask, what's the difference if you took the 13 physique and the 23 physique? What is the main differences between the two? Like, what is your weight much different?
I would say probably not as much difference as weight, but whenever you put on more muscle and get leaner, the weight ends up being similar. So I'm sure it was similar to 2013. I would say maybe 2013 I was kind of scrawny. So maybe 14 and 15, I probably was around the same weight, just like 122, 123. But my body composition was much different. I'm a little leaner, and my muscles are more developed now.
Mature.
Yes.
Which physique do you prefer?
Now, I suppose. But just because I'm living in it.
Yeah. No, I didn't know if you liked your look. Because, you know, even Jay can say he preferred his look in younger days.
Because, like, bodybuilding is one of these things where we didn't, you say, like, oh, there's been a lot of different, now is the standard's a little different. I don't think the standard's different in open bodybuilding, right?
Well, no, the difference was throughout your career, you had to get much bigger than you wanted to because you were chasing somebody who was much bigger.
Like people have to chase.
But they still do. Yeah. But you preferred probably the 01 look to the
of course
11 look.
But Ronnie Coleman wasn't Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, there was no standard push to that level.
So now go ahead.
Take us back. Take us back to
High school.
Yeah, you were a track. I remember hearing a lot of stories about your track days, and you were blonde.
Yeah.
He said.
Blonde. But yeah, high school, I was track athlete. I also did gymnastics, not in high school, but like as a middle schooler, I would say. But up until then, up from middle school and beyond till college, I ran track and ran hurdles. And I'm glad I did, because it really taught me how to be tough. It showed me what hard work was. And every time I'm not enjoying my workout because it's difficult, I'm like, well, at least about doing 40-meter repeats on the track till I throw up.
So you didn't like that? Did you not? Because I didn't like I played football, but that wasn't my passion.
Mm-hmm. You know, I love track. I was obsessed with it up until college. And I think the reason being is because I was no longer on my own time. I had to be at practice at this time and do this, whereas high school is more like relaxed, I would say. So, yeah, I kind of lost interest in track at the college level. But in college, I hated it.
And what were you studying at the time?
I switched my major a few times from family development and then nutrition. So, but I'm really glad I did track, even though I hated it at the college level, because it really did.
How successful were you in college and on track?
I was better in high school and in track because I had a passion for it. I did get a scholarship,
So it paid. So you did it just to go through school. Did you have success? Like, how far along did you get?
I did 3 years of college, and then I'm like, forget this.
Sounds like
I started bartending for a year, and then I started training for bikini, and then
I know, but what gave you the incentive? I mean, tell me your first, like, did you pick up a book or did you see social media, I guess, was that like apparent then? What was the first encounter you had with, wow, I like this look, I can do this? Who was the first person?
So on Facebook, I still kept in touch with my high school track coach, and she did figure at a local gym. And I was seeing these posts on Facebook, and I was like, this looks kind of cool. I want to see what is this all about? So upon my research, I was like, oh, there's a bikini division too. So I got really interested in that, and I checked out the gym and seen what the training was like, and decided to go for it. And the Arnold Classic is obviously in Ohio. I'm from Akron, Ohio, so it's kind of a big deal for us Ohioans because there's not much else going on. So, having that like as a known thing in Ohio, and I would go to the expo even when I wasn't interested in the sport, right? Even just to go to the expo and check it out was a thing I always did.
What year was the first year you went? Do you remember?
Gosh, I probably don't. It was in high school.
So you walked the expo but didn't attend the shows.
Right. Well, the shows kind of took place at expo, so I was aware of the shows that went on, but I didn't go there to watch it necessarily, if that makes sense. So I was very, aware of the sport, even more so after checking out the gym and like, okay, this all makes sense. So I wanted to give it a try, and I fell in love with it.
What gym was that?
It was called Summers Fitness in Canton, Ohio.
And what was your first show? Wow, so you skipped, you didn't have to do any local, you just went right to the big guns.
Oh, this is a good story. So I,
Well, there's not much to that story.
Story's over.
well, what's coming after that?
That needs to be the Ashley K's greatest story. I lost.
Well, okay, let me finish. So I didn't suggest, I got 11th place in my type class, and man, looking back, I was just a mess. It's almost like, what was I thinking? I look back, I was like, what was I thinking? I used my hair white. I wore this.
I need pictures of this. Good.
Off the rack, a super Target. It was white. My clothes even quick. I got my tan from salon, not even competition tan. But anyway, I was a mess. So what did I do? After that, I studied the sport. I'm like, well, at least my physique was good, but I'm pretty sure everything else, I just looked bad. So I went drawing board, I researched and became a master of my craft. And I would watch the Arnold every single night, every play, the same thing, and see what does the winner have that I don't? What can I do to be more like her?
You remember who the winner was at that point, or? Okay.
And then,
because he was a pro too, also, right?
Yeah. So anyway, after this whole year of learning the sport and fine-tuning those things that I messed up on, I ended up winning the whole thing a year later, 2012.
So you went from getting smoked to winning.
So you had to learn about the bedazzled suits, it's custom.
Yeah.
How much does a suit cost, by the way?
Oh gosh, they can run $600 to $800.
Okay. So you actually had a custom suit made with the cut.
Yes.
Is there a special Ashley K cut that led in these suits? Or?
No, in fact, the suits back then are even different. They were more.
They're very streamlined. They're streamlined now, right?
They're like thongs now.
Well, we don't want to say it.
Oh, I just let's just say it.
So,
I mean, it shows more, right?
Yeah, definitely more. But yeah. So it's kind of cool that it just goes to show you don't, because if I would have given up after placing 11th, and I'm sure a lot of people do, unfortunately, when the things don't go their way and they don't do as well, they're like, oh, forget.
There's no way that you just kind of became a master. Someone had to have an eye on you in that year from when you got smoked.
I was with my local coach then, from before I did my first show till after.
Okay.
So that is definitely a factor, but I really was diligent of like researching it, because I feel like the first show I did, I just kind of went in without like, oh, I'm so, like, research this and get a tan from this place. I don't know what I was thinking.
But tell me about your training. Like, what do you feel like? I'm a bodybuilder. Okay, so I group body parts on a daily schedule, and I train 5 total days in a week. Not necessarily 5 days in a row, so like I might train 2 on, 1 off. For a competitor in your division, like, do you feel like you're on the same kind of program, or like you train the same all the time?
I wouldn't say I train the same all the time, but throughout the years, I've gotten stronger and I can do more weights, more reps, all that good stuff. I mean, of course, the workouts themselves will vary, but the style of training, it didn't really change that much. The biggest style of training came from track training to bikini training. That was like a big shock to me. I'm like, whoa, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So repetitions, like you do like 8 repetitions, 12 repetitions, 15, 20.
Typically like 10 to 15, depending on the day.
And you stay on a specific diet. It sounds like, I mean, within striking distance all year round.
Yeah, I don't go off the diet.
How much weight do you have to lose for a competition today?
Oh, if I were to compete,
I remember asking her this a while ago, and she was just like, yeah, I'm always within 2 weeks of doing a show.
Well, I don't know about 2 weeks now, but like,
Why?
We're a month now.
Why 2 weeks? Why is it limited?
No, she said right now, but normally she stays.
Why right now? Because you just had Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, or is it just you're not training as hard?
Well, for now, I like to keep myself within a month. Like but the reason is like, well, why wouldn't I? What purpose would bulking do for me?
I hate that word.
I know, especially like for bikini. Like, this is a lifestyle that and we don't really should be bulking. Yeah.
You'll hear some of these girls like, I got to have a big off season to put a bunch of muscle on. I'm like, you're 115 pounds. Like, you have to add 2 pounds. Or they'll say, I'm going into off season. I'm going to start my prep in 4 weeks. Like, that's not off season. Off season is like, take time off to make the progress you need to.
So you talked about the challenge of going from track to weight training.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the biggest challenge for bikini? Is it learning the posing? I mean, I know you guys have switched up some of the posing, right?
Yeah.
Is it gathering the conditioning, or is it now trying to go to the gym and really, are you trying to maintain? Because I don't think you've been top in the world. You kind of had almost like a second coming of your career, right? You've been top 3 the last couple of years, right? Like, what do you feel like every time, okay, I need to work on X when I go to the gym? What's the difference between you? Because I know the top 3, it was like splitting hairs this year. I mean, I watched Tyler's whole thing on These Are the Top. What do
you have to do? Like when you go to the gym, you're like, I need to do this to win the Olympia this year.
Great. So if there's ever like feedback that I need to work on something in particular, I will spend more time on that and more energy on that specific body part. For years, they were saying it was my upper body, like my shoulders and stuff. So man, I really pushed it when that was my feedback. So luckily now it's not my feedback so much anymore. So I must have been doing something right. But basically, we're dedicated days and eliminating like maybe some unnecessary days that I don't need to give as much attention to, and just spend more time on the body parts than I do.
What is your most genetically gifted body part, you think?
Abs. I don't train them.
So a lot of core exercises. But if I asked you, like, do you squat? Do you do one-arm dumbbell rows? Like, do you do all that stuff, or do you stick mostly to machine work?
Oh no, I do all that. I do that and machine work. So, yeah.
Switches up all the time.
Switches up.
And you're training mostly in a private studio here in Vegas?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I train at the Contest Web Center here in Vegas, and that's our team headquarters, so that's convenient. And I have a trainer, her name is Sam Catlin, and she makes sure I'm doing all the right things and pushing.
No slacking.
So she goes to the gym when you're there, she's working out?
Yeah, and that's also our workplace too. That's where we do our athlete check-ins and everything like that. So it's a multi-purpose gym, but yeah, she makes sure that I'm doing everything correctly. Because I will say, throughout my years of gymnastics and track, there's one thing I'm not good at, burning out myself. I've been spoiled where someone's always telling me what to do, watching what I do, making sure I do it correctly. So now I'm like, I always do better when someone is pushing me.
You train by yourself sometimes, though? Around the corner from your house?
Yes, I do.
Do you push yourself hard then or no?
I do push myself, probably harder when I'm getting trained by someone, to be honest.
Have you been there yet? Contact preps?
No.
Listen, if you want to train legs and glutes, there's no better place.
I couldn't go train like.
No, you can train, but he has a lot of equipment for legs and glutes. But yeah, you can train your whole body.
Tell me about your transition. So you went from Ohio to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You were doing a ton of media, and then we were happy to have you migrate to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And tell me, the LA move, was it necessary for your career? Did it help your career? And then you ended up in Vegas. I know the Olympia's been in, back and forth between Florida, but you talked about this prep center, and I want to also ask about your roster of athletes too. But tell me, the shell shock of moving from Ohio to Los Angeles, because you were in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you doing somersaults on a stalker, slept on the stars.
I lived in a very touristy area, but yeah. So my move to Los Angeles was not really anything to do with my career, believe it or not. I just lived in Ohio my whole life. It got a little boring, That's in Ohio. So, I think it's natural that when we're in a space our whole life, a lot of us just want to be the opposite of what we're used to. So what's opposite of Ohio? Los Angeles. So I lived there for about 4 years in a very touristy area. I lived on the Star Walk. So it was exciting, but it did get a little boring after a while and a little exhausting. But especially after COVID, I was like, things are not going good here. So then I was like, I need to go. So then I moved to Vegas, bought a house, and happily ever after.
So when you kind of stepped away for a while, what was the reason you stepped away? You won 3 Olympias, and then you kind of just floated off into the sunset.
1 year. So the reason being is, so I won my 3 Olympiads, and there is one downside of winning such a big show like the Olympia, and it's the burden of expectation, the added pressure, right? So I always say, if you go into an Olympia as an unknown, it's kind of nice because there's no expectation or pressure. You're just there to do your thing, have fun, right? And that was me in 2013. I was an underdog. No one knew who I was. But 14 and 15, it gets to you, the burden of expectation, right? And then in 2016, I kind of lost a little bit of motivation there for a year. And I didn't do as well as the Olympia. I got 4th, which isn't bad, but after getting 4th,
it's not winning. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm happy with this, but it's the burden of expectation gets to you, and then it's oh man, that's disappointing. I feel like I let people down. I know it's silly to think, but that's how I thought in the time. I felt like I let people down. I feel like, who am I? I'm disappointment. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that way. But anyway, that kind of prompted my, you know what? Let me just take a little bit of time away from the stage and kind of just chill out a little bit, be a, quote, normal person. And I took the year off, and I regret it because it didn't make me happier. But I did learn a lesson, and it's why am I letting other people determine my happiness, guiding me and why don't you be a normal person kind of thing. But the burden of expectation, it gets you, and I shouldn't have let it.
Did you still train during that time, just like you always did?
I did aerial acrobatics, believe me, about for a year, just for funsies, but it's definitely not what I would consider training. And I ate whatever I wanted.
So were you weren't planning on leaving the industry? When you stopped, did you plan on never competing again? Or did you know you were going to come back?
I didn't know when. A lot of people assumed I retired, but I didn't. No, I just wanted a little break.
Yeah, because you were only, 27, 28? That's pretty early to retire.
Yeah, some people do, though.
We don't know your real age, right?
I get that.
I do. She told us.
you're in that iconic status. How do you feel like when people say, like he just said you're the GOAT, but I mean, outside of this, like girls come to you, you're inspirational for so many people. You just talked about Bird. And you placed third, like the last couple, right?
Last three.
So for you, like you just said, well, fourth's not that good, but the problem is a big gap between fourth and first, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, where the upsetting part is. You're used to winning and then you fall back. For my last one in 2013, I finished still.
Look who's here.
What's up, bro? What's up, guys? You can take those. Okay, so, when you fall back, that's almost like, shoot, that's kind of a failure, but it's still very respectable, right? So, you're still top in the world. Do you feel it's a burden when you have that much influence on people? Because, now you're sponsored, you're known. I mean, like I said, your mark is not even, you said it's not close to being done, but you hold the record. I mean, there's a lot of things to you that people look at for admiration or respect or motivation. Does that burden you?
No, respect doesn't, because, I had after that year off, it just kind of put things into perspective. And I don't think it's a burden now to have more eyes on me necessarily. Because, something I did find out, I always say this, the Olympia, right? It's unlike any show. I guess the closest one would be the Arnold. Even then, it's always like the final exam, right? And the way I kind of like to say it is you can do well all year, but if you fail your final exam, you fail the class, right? And I think of the Olympia as the final exam. So even if I did well throughout the year and I don't do well at the Olympia, then the next bad year. But, even if I didn't do well at the Arnold, it's kind of like my journey should kind of speak for itself anyway. I think everything now is icing on the cake in a sense. So I think as long as you, let people know that I'm having the time I like. This is, I feel like this is what I'm need to do good. But, I think people respect that and they will follow you whether you get first or ninth or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the day, they're still going to be your fans and they'll still respect you and you'll still inspire them,
So does your placing at the Olympia determine if the year was well? Because you could bring a physique exactly how you wanted to, and if it's exactly how you wanted, but the judges didn't reward it, does that mean that year's not successful? Or is how you look to yourself and your coach, is that more the success level?
I would say there's probably is truth to both of those things. At the end of the day, you really shouldn't place so much of that weight on the placement itself because it can go, who knows,
It's an opinion.
Yeah, it's an opinion. They look that day. But, I think as long as you gave it your best, and that sounds cheesy, you gave it your best, and you did everything you could to bring your best package, should be satisfied with that. So that's something, of course, I had to learn over time. But yeah, so it sounds cheesy, but in a sport like this, it's you can't, there's a lot of things you can't control. You cannot control who shows up, how they show up, how it's done. You can only control it yourself. So if you bring what you think is your best and you gave it your all and you can't do anything else, then you should.
So I could never judge bikini because I think you can take whoever wins at the Olympia and 10th place and you can make an argument to swap them and you probably wouldn't be wrong. There's probably an argument because it's that close. And I don't see good. Just like you. So you know what? We talked about that before. So you had a major surgery not super long ago, and you have another one coming up. So explain how this even came about. How did you find out you had this issue? What was the surgery, and what else do you have going forward with that?
Right. So in 2020, like you mentioned, I had the surgery. So the surgery was strabismus eye surgery because I had strabismus exotopia. It was a lot worse though. So I had to get it in both eyes in 2020. Now it's just one eye here in a few weeks. But basically, how did it come about? The weirdest thing is I noticed that it was at first hard to focus on things. Right? I was like, oh, that's weird. Hard to focus. Maybe I'm tired. it's funny because they even went to the eye doctor and they were like, oh, I think you're just overthinking it. Like, if you try too hard to focus on something, you won't be able to focus on something. I'm like, yes, it makes sense. But then I'm like, yeah, this is worse. Like, I'm not crazy. Maybe I should get a second opinion, you know? And they told me, okay, well, let me see. Doing all these tests and all these different little things in my eye. And they're like, well, I think you got strabismus here. So.
And what is it exactly?
So basically, this eye curves in a little bit, and I can't really control it. It used to be both eyes, but it causes double vision 24/7. So anything like beyond you is like double. So that makes things really hard in daily life, right?
Just to look at somebody.
But it's not as bad as it was in 2020, so thank God for that. But yeah, it just kind of got worse over the years for that. And it became like hard to focus on something to everything's double vision. So I see double. And yeah, it makes things challenging, especially.
So what did they do in the surgery? Like, what did they exactly do?
They put me under and they like cut my muscles in my eye and like stapled them correct so they're like more aligned.
Do you wear glasses though right now?
I do. Yeah, I have like a negative.
Does that help or?
Well, I have bad vision anyway, negative 5.5, so I'm wearing contacts right now. But the glasses I do have to fix this is like comical. So the glasses I used to drive and stuff, they are so thick.
I think we need a picture of you in them.
Oh gosh, they are so.
So you never wear them outside of driving then?
No, not really. I mean, I wear them around the house and stuff, but they're legit like even heavy on my nose. Like these so that my nose bridge is like taking that weight.
So that's going to set you out of this year's, next year's Arnold Classic. I mean, which is, I know that was a disappointment for a lot of fans out there. You made that announcement. Was that tough for you to make that decision? Because it's like go back to your stomping grounds, win another title.
It is so tough. It is really tough. And you know what is the toughest part is that like I could possibly still be able to do it. Because I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take me to recover. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Like how many muscles do they need to cut in my eye? You know, and I think it's a little bit of a different surgery technique as before. So I don't know how long it's going to take to recover. When can I get back into the weight room? When can I like even use like my eye properly, you know? So it's possible that I can even be ready in March, but you kind of have to already submit your contract beforehand. It was already like...
You can't just show up and...
Yeah. So like there's no way for me to like know right now because I don't have a crystal ball to tell you if I'd be recovered. But that kind of sucks too, knowing that like, man, I could have signed up, but how was I to know? I don't know.
So that means from April on, she's on a mission because you got 7 wins this year. You're going to get.
I done hit the circuit hard this year.
Wow. They seem to be doing more and more bikini shows there. I mean, opportunity. Talk about your overseas experience, like cultures. Is there a favorite culture you like to compete against?
Oh gosh. Well, I was just in Japan and that was epic. It was such an event. They do it so big over there. Have you competed?
No, I actually went on a trip though there and did some guest posings there. So obviously besides the one flight, right, the culture is really different. There were a lot of earthquakes.
Oh gosh.
It seems like every day it would seem like there was an earthquake, you know. But what did you like about it and how, I mean, you're not at home eating your trifecta food, so like how do you stay on your diet when you travel to these things?
She sneaks it with.
I actually did smuggle some, I'm not going to lie.
You're not supposed to.
I know.
International bikini star gets thrown in jail for sneaking chicken in.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, though, right? It's part of the risk. But I think that the biggest difference is like their appreciation for like the sport.
Yeah.
Not that they don't appreciate it here, don't get me wrong, but I feel like maybe since the shows are more sparse in Asia, that it's more of like a big deal when a show does come there. So they're like the production of the show itself was incredible. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah.
Intro. I felt like it was in a video game or something.
Yeah, look, the stage there looked like almost looked bigger than like the Olympian Arm.
How many girls in the U.S. were eating there?
Just if you, not many Americans go overseas. That I want to change that. I want to be that girl. But yeah, I will say they treated me like a.
Yeah, go tell those guys, Matt, that they'll have to come back. So they treated you really well.
Yeah, and I honestly think like And that's silly to say, I felt like I won the Olympia when I won that show because they made it such a big deal. So it was like, oh my gosh, prize here, prize there, interviews here, interview there. I was just like, everyone wants to take a picture with me. I'm like, so having.
That was your first time competing there?
No, I've competed there before. I've also competed in Korea as well.
Australia,
India, Finland.
UK, how was everything?
UK, Russia. I've been a lot of places.
What's your favorite, though? Do you see?
Japan.
Really? Wow.
It's Japan now. They won me over this last trip.
Trying to think. Let's see.
Did you do seminars while you were there, too, or did you just go and compete?
I just went to compete this time.
Talk about your business a little bit now. So you do the business of fitness. You have a lot of sponsors, which we can show out the sponsor that we want. But, like, you have a team now, right? You coach?
Yes. So I work under Team League Feet, yeah.
And you have all amateurs, or do you have pros also?
I do have a master's pro, but I do not take on too many clients because I like to say until I retire,
You want to go on?
I might be, well, yeah. Usually when I get a pro, because I have turned a few girls pro, I will hand them off to Adam because I'm like, yeah, that's weird. I know the end of the pro.
I'm going to make you look your best.
I'm going to make you look your best. Wink, wink.
I'm going to smoke you.
So I did keep one master competitor that didn't know what compete against her. So she's like, she's awesome. But yeah, I don't take too many clients right now because I want my main thing to be competing because I love it so much.
I'm thinking of right now. So we went over to the Masters Olympia and I saw her shortly after. I'm like, why didn't you do the Masters? Why didn't you get that? And she was like so appalled to like, how old do you think I am? And I'm like, oh shit, that's right. You've been competing forever, but you're still really young.
I get like, yeah, I think a lot of people think I'm older than I am because of that. They're like, oh, 43 wins. You must be at least 43. No, it's that. I got more wins than my age.
So who has been your inspiration, would you say? Is there anyone, or are you kind of self-motivated? People ask me, and I've started training because of Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme and obviously Arnold, But, like, has anyone inspired you to, like, hey, I want to be better, or, like,
honestly, just the whole, like, sport as a whole is motivating. Like, seeing individuals is motivating. They're being successful. But I would say most of my motivation comes from myself. But also, like, I know it sounds cheesy, but the gratitude, too, like, brings you a long way. Because, like, anytime I feel like, oh, man, this sucks, I'm, like, trying to say I want to cry. I'm like, dang it, I love a good line. Like, I could be poured no high right now.
What time do you get up in the morning? It was like
3:30. I can grill, Chris.
What time do you go to bed, though?
Okay, so
You you might not be a master, but you live the old lady life.
I don't know. Well, especially...
Is there a reason for this? Is there a reason for this early rising?
I know I'm naturally a morning person. It's weird because I'll wake up and in the morning, I'll have just an abundance of energy, more energy than I have anytime throughout the day. Like I wake up and I feel like I have pre-workout already and I haven't. And I'll be like, okay.
I know you're always so, like, nice and inviting, and I always wonder how someone like you has a switch when you go to the gym. Like, I kind of train angry. I always see this about Regan Grimes because, like, if I controlled Regan, I'd lock him and he'd be Mr. Olympia within a couple of years because if I locked him in a room, seems like I see him smiling, pressing 400 pounds on the bench press. Do you have a switch when you go in the gym and it's like, is it like a different you? It like stage, the same thing. I mean, you guys have to look pleasant, right? But do you feel like you get backstage and you're like, I'm on a mission, right?
Oh, backstage, I'm a different person. I think a lot of girls would probably think I'm
yeah, that's
to myself. I'm like, every girl.
Oh, you're focused.
Yeah, I'm super focused. I'm the one in the corner, just like pumping up and stuff. But I think like because of social.
Are you nervous though, or?
I mean, a little bit nervous.
I was nervous. I'm not even. I mean,
it's good to be nervous. It's good to be nervous. I always say, if you're not nervous, you probably don't care enough. If you're nervous, it means like, okay, this event, like I care about it, So you just need to kind of control the nerves. As long as you can do that, you're fine. So be nervous.
I mean, you've done it a million times. I mean, but almost more than any. I mean,
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
So you've won 43. How many times you got second?
I will say, on the NPC site, which now, like, you can see all the shows. They weren't adding in all the shows back in the day. Like, I could go back and try to look for my Russia show or my India show, these, like, obscure shows, and they're nowhere to be found.
Was that the India show and some people rushed the stage? There was one of the bikini shows where the fans, like, pushed the thing over. Yeah.
Who's your fiercest competitor?
That's a good question.
Like, if you say, man, it seems I'm always battling. I mean, actually, last 3 years, so you've been battling like Maureen and Jen, right? Or
yeah, I guess that's it.
like
they're in the mix. I mean, I never
Nobody else has been going this whole time you were. So it's like a new generation.
So I mean, I never count anyone out though. That's the thing. Even at like a local show, I'm not like, oh man, I got this. No, I'm like, man, I've never seen that girl before. Man, she looks good. Or this girl, oh my gosh. So it's never like, I don't know. I always see everyone as competition. Like, I never count anyone out, ever.
Can I put you on the spot and I say, okay, you're going to go for 50? What do you want your legacy to be? Like, are you going to stay in this thing active forever, do you think? Or
and I'm very much a person that's like, I don't want to like overthink the future. I'm just living in the moment and I'm enjoying every second. I don't really have a set plan of how or when to stop or what.
You're not close though, right?
No, I feel great. But I don't know when I want to slow down. Like right now, I'm like, get me on stage.
Listen, she's got to win a Masters Olympia. That means she has to go for at least 5 more years, at least. Can you hit 100 wins?
I don't think
The Olympia is still like your ultimate to win it back, right? I mean, we're seeing now, like I was the first one to cut after losing, and I did it consecutive years, but like we've seen Brandon win it back.
Brandon Hendrickson did.
Who else have won it back? Nothing in the open. Yeah, Jen Dory.
Brandon and Jen.
Like, is that the ultimate goal right now? Like, if I asked you 24, you're going to compete. Obviously, be successful at health, right? Health is the most important thing, but are you finding that?
Of course, I would love to win the Olympia, but I will say it's not everything. So because then it would, if I put all my weight, it would be the Olympia. Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, you need to like take a huge off season to do that, et cetera, et cetera." Like, you know, I don't think that's the answer. A lot of people think it is, but I think if it's my time to win again, I will. I would love to, though. And I will say this. Like I said, the past 3 years, I got third. And never first time I was like, wow, I got lucky. What a coincidence. And then the second time, I'm like, whoa, that happened again? I got third.
That means you're this close.
And then I got third this year, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, it's a pattern now. So, like, I feel like I'm in the mix. So, I've been in the mix for a while. So, I'm right there.
You easily could have won them.
Feedback, though, Ash, what is the feedback that you got why you were third this year?
From all the judges, the main thing was I was a little bit too conditioned. And I agree. If I look at the top call out, first, second, they were a bit softer than me. And for bikini, you gonna be a little.
Did they tell you need to be a little softer from other contests though? Because you like, what I don't understand, this is me on the outside. Okay, as a fan, you competed more than any girl that was on that stage that year, right? And you came in every show. Probably, maybe it was different, maybe it was similar, but like based on the last couple contests, did they say, hey, you need to be a bit softer? Do you need to be conditioned here? Like, how was the feedback? You go to Pittsburgh, right? It's time out to shoot the what is it called? What is it called? Battle for?
Road to the Olympia.
Road to Olympia, right? What's the feedback you get?
So, no, I shot the Road to Olympia like a month out, so maybe it wasn't the best time to do that. But I will say So they didn't really have feedback for me at that point, so I was super out. But throughout the year, the feedback I've gotten was actually I've done some shows and I said to be a little bit tucker in my hamstring. So I think, going back to what I said earlier, it's who are you standing next to, right?
Okay.
So perhaps that I was standing next to some girls that were extra lean. They saw me and were like, okay, you won, but I would tighten up your hamstrings a little more, So it's not necessarily bad feedback, but
it's the scenery that you're with that yes, like you said, it's individual each contest, so it's hard to say I'm going to land it. But most people would say you're competing too much to peak at one contest at the end of the season. You call this the Super Bowl. This is your final exam.
Yeah.
Do you feel like competing all year hinders? It definitely doesn't sound like it hinders your motivation. I would be like, man, I'm tired of this diet. I'm tired of traveling. I'm tired of doing this. Do you feel that hinders or helps you?
I think it helps me. There's no practice like stage practice first and foremost. But although I do appear to be sane in a lot of these shows, there's little things I'm testing out every time. Like, okay, let me come in with like a red suit, a green suit, acrylic hair, straight hair, posing routine, do this kind of posing adjustment, things like that. Try this during peak week. So I'm always testing, but it keeps me fresh too. And I actually, in fact, quite the opposite of what you just said. I think I probably should have competed like a few weeks before the Olympia because I might have had a better sneak peek, right? And see like, okay, maybe.
What was the gap?
Yeah.
What was the gap? What was the last show you did prior to the Olympia?
Vancouver Pro, which was July.
You just shut it down.
That was 5 months. That's a long time for you. It was December, first week of December, yeah.
No. Vancouver.
I thought you said July.
But the Olympia was November, not December.
I thought it was December. Oh, no. No, I was thinking last year. No, I was thinking the year before was the first week of December. I don't know. 4 months. That's still a long time for you, though.
Okay, we got to see the green suit back. The original green suit.
Oh, the green.
That was your trademark for a long time.
That was. I mean, I did wear green. I actually wore red the last show, but green is my main color. I like green.
So we're going to see green this year a lot?
And green today.
That's why I did. Right. I will wear green and red.
Do you have any idea of certain shows that you have eyeballed this year?
Yeah, I'm waiting for that IFBB list to come out.
I know there's one show that you've told me several times that you still haven't won the title in the United States.
New York Pro.
Yep.
That's like the one.
She's never won the New York Pro.
Today's Steve Weinberger's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a show this year?
Perhaps, but I want you, like I said, I want to look at this list first because I want to go overseas to compete. I want to have fun with it. So I want to do the Kaltwasser.
Well, I know that. Well, let's see. I know they got shows in France, Italy, Singapore, Vietnam.
New York Pro. If you did Pittsburgh last year, wasn't it like right around the same time?
2 weeks apart.
You probably did another show in another region because there were probably other contests.
I took a mini.
I remember you telling me that you said you were going to do both. Yeah.
But yeah, so I went ahead into my parents' Ohio and been in them for a week anyway. So it all worked out.
Wow. So she's gonna have to do
a superstar where you come from, or
she's just trying to
go to like the gyms in Akron and like you're pretty known.
They need to have you painted on the wall.
Are you going home for Christmas or?
No, I'm staying here.
Okay.
But I don't think Five Buildings as prominent in Akron, Ohio. Probably Columbus is like they're more aware of it, but I don't know.
So go ahead.
I think I get organized every once in a while if I'm in the right setting, but.
So we have a podcast here, but you've been on a podcast for like a long time, and you have so talk to us about the development, because Adam's talked to me a little bit about it. I think in the beginning it was just audio.
How many episodes have you guys done,
Probably like over 150. We've been going since 2018 every week, with the exception of like maybe like Christmases and Olympia.
So talk about the progression, because you said it, because I went by there and Adam showed me the content prep center. And I'm like, he's like, this is our new podcast here. I'm like, man, ours looks kind of shitty compared to this. They have like an official studio. So talk about the progression.
Yeah, so it started off on just like a laptop with some really fuzzy quality, and it progressed like for so since 2018 we went from laptop, and then we got mics, and we got a backdrop now. We got a nice room for it. Now we have like a bigger room for it, and then lights, and so it's definitely come a long way. But it was the quality back then was, but yeah, it's.
What's your coverage mostly on?
Yeah, so it's called the Bikini and the Brand. So we basically just do a lot of bikini talk, which also brings in other divisions and just industry stuff in general sometimes, and health stuff and fitness stuff in general, but mostly like bikini outfitting stuff.
Do you have an eye for someone that's like, you have the perfect bikini body, or do you feel, because you just told me like, and you started out in 2011, it was a mess, right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought you would be Olympia champ within a couple of years, right? Do you feel like because I have an eye for someone like, I see structure like shoulders versus waist ratio and like muscle tone and that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you can pick this girl's going to be it?
I think I have a good eye for it, yes. If they're in the right shape already, because if they're, how do I say it? Like if they're too fluffy at the moment, it's hard to see where the fat distribution is. Like, okay, this person puts more fat here and there, you know what I mean? So like for the most part, I would say, yeah, I have an eye for it.
If our listeners or our viewers wanted to say, what does it take to be a bikini competitor? How much weight do you feel you should fluctuate between the time you don't do a competition and you do? Like, what's the range?
I say 10 to 12% of your body fat, and that's...
So you're going to go by body fat, not body weight, right? Yeah. It's distributed different, right?
Well, body weight, percent of your body weight you shouldn't go up. So I'm not saying percentage, like...
All body things.
Yeah, sorry. I really messed that up. But yeah, because it wouldn't make sense to say 10 pounds if like I'm 5'5" and another girl's 6 foot, right? So I try to say 8 pounds or less, but I think a lot of girls really will exceed that, and it's a bit unnecessary.
Everybody exceeds it, right? Let's be honest. Like,
everyone.
What do you feel is the biggest obstacle for like your clientele? Like, what are the questions that arise? Is it not knowing what to eat or not knowing how to train?
I would say most people struggle with the diet more than training. It seems like people love to train for the most part, but diet is not fun for them.
So like cheat meals versus like red meats, like the bikini, is everyone different on what they can eat?
I mean, yeah, some people have like little allergies or meat eating preferences. Here's the thing. If you want to stick with the diet for a long period of time, you gotta like it. Like, I don't eat seafood. I won't go near seafood. I've never prepped with fish. Gross, no.
I had to do it though. So do you eat red meat?
Yeah.
You eat eggs for breakfast?
Muscle egg, yes. I'm a very picky eater, so I don't like savory eggs, I like sweet eggs.
So you drink your eggs?
I mean, I'm in
okay.
Dessert pancake.
She doesn't have cheat meals. A cheat meal is like an apple.
No. I'm actually, I think one of my advantages is why I'm kind of good at dieting, because I love my food. I don't really...
How many meals a day do you eat?
Like 5 or 6.
So you got to pack your meals everywhere you go with you, prep early?
I don't... Yeah, but I'm not as strict as you might think. Like, I don't time my meals. I don't even believe my food.
But you don't miss, do you?
If I'm not hungry, I won't eat.
Even on a contest prep?
If I'm like, well, let me backtrack. If I'm like a week out from a show and I'm like too shredded, too lean, I will eat when I don't want to. But I do think that like eating when you're not really hungry kind of creates bad habits, in my opinion.
And to balance your ab definition, you said that's most genetic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to sacrifice in order so that doesn't get, because you're not like bikini competitors aren't supposed to have like crazy abs, right? Is that hard for you to balance like that? Is that like the first body part that comes out when you get leaner?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say so. It's not really tough. I just don't try abs. That's easy. Not to train them at all. It's been easy. So, yeah, I'm not really. There's some people out there that are like hungry for muscle, I would say, or they're obsessed with lifting, where it's like you tell them not to train a body part, and they're like, no, I can't. I got you. I'm not like that. If you told me like, okay, don't train this body part, I'd be like, cool.
And what if people want to come to Vegas and train with you? So do you offer that?
I do not personally. We have other coaches in a facility that do that, but
I bet you we can convince her to train you one day.
oh, I don't know.
I would like to train with her. I just don't think I want to do glutes.
No, you have to. You need to do a YouTube video with you doing Ashley's glute session.
No,
and just
no. If you really train your glutes a lot, like I mean, I seen your Rishna train wellness. It's a way different.
I mean, she goes crazy.
I mean, I squatted crazy. Do you ever squatted or
Squat, but I don't train like you. Yeah, like I'm more focused on the feeling and going slow and intentional. I obviously still challenging myself, but it's not like I'm, doing like 5 reps for my max or
so time under tension, muscle, mind to muscle connection. That's something that takes a long time to learn. And
yeah, you just gotta be focused. Yeah.
But you were saying before, like you didn't think like a bodybuilder who trains harder, bodybuilder or bikini competitor.
I know bodybuilding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you're one of the you're one of the few people that went on record and talked about people complaining about the prize money in different divisions. What makes you like step forward and say it? Because I'm sure a lot of the girls you compete with aren't happy you're saying that. But what makes you say like, hey,
didn't she do a post on it?
She spoke about it a couple times, like you believe that the prize money, the way it is the way it is for a reason. Like, what made you give you the confidence to say that? Because the girls you're competing with are probably like, F you, why are you saying that?
Yeah, so that's the unpopular opinion. And then, like you said, the girls not gonna like you for this, but anyway, that's okay. But we all like to think we work the hardest, and to be fair, hard work is relative. What I think is easy could be really difficult for someone, and vice versa. But I will say, I have yet to see a bodybuilder who was never an athlete, just a random person, go from a random person to Olympia level in 2 years. That could technically happen in bikini because the level of muscularity isn't as extreme. But you guys put yourself through a lot more with your body than us. And bikini is a lifestyle division. That's why I can stay close to my stage weight all year and feel great and be able to compete 14 times in a year, For bodybuilding, not so much. And also, there's tons of bikini shows. There's only a fraction of those that have open men's bodybuilding, right? So with that being said, it's taking much more toll on your body. But also, like, I wouldn't be here if it weren't the men's open bodybuilding. It's what started it all. And it's what the people want to see at the Olympia. Not that they're not wanting to see bikini girls, but I'm sure if you took a poll, who are you here to see? The majority would say men's open bodybuilding because, like Matt says, they want to see the freaks. And bikini girls, yeah, we're pretty, but not freaks.
Yeah, you hear this argument a lot about even like Classic, where they're saying, Classic should make the same amount of money as the open men. But even in Classic, I mean, the top guys are all in their early 20s. I mean, Chris won an Olympia, I think he was 22, 23.
And they make just to clarify, they make as much as bikini.
I think depends on the show. Maybe a little more. Yeah.
50,000.
Yeah. I think it's 50.
Yeah, for Olympia.
Yeah. People at the end of the day, people pay to see the freaks, and if you go back to, this is me with the 60th year, during the Dorian era, it was sold out. During the Ronnie era, it was sold out. During the Jay era, during Phil's reign, sold out. Doesn't matter what other divisions come in, people pay the big money because they want to see something that's larger than life. And seeing a Samson or a Nick Walker or a whoever's up there, they pay that crazy money to see the freaks. And I think that's why it's paid out.
It's what started it all. It's from the men's open bodybuilding team, the women, and then fitness and then figure et cetera. But it would not be here if it weren't for men's open bodybuilding. But it is the main event, and I get that. And I think, we'd all like to make a whole bunch of money, right? But it's like, know your place a little bit. Like, the advantage of bikini is it's less stress on my body. I get to compete way more. There's way more shows available. So I'm happy with it. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful.
I'm assuming the cost for you to get ready for a bikini show is a little bit less than a guy to Olympia. Just the food alone.
Well, she talked about lifestyle, and I mean, you have a sponsor, you know, you have a supplements company that helps you a lot with travel and whatnot, but it doesn't sound like you were ever motivated by the financial return.
I don't even really look at the price.
I didn't either.
I just do the show. Like in Japan, bikini got paid well. 7,500. That's pretty good for bikini, right? And I didn't even know that until like I got the check. I'm like, oh, well, used to like
Did you
1,000.
Did you ever imagine that a hobby would become a career and it would financially support the life?
Never. I feel like Cinderella.
Like you went to school for, you know, all these different majors, right? And we have these aspirations. And I came from a family business doing concrete, and it's like I was uncertain what my future was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I found the weight room, and the weight room told me a story like, wow, I'm really good at this, right? I was watching my muscles grow, my strength go up, and I became really good at bodybuilding, right? I stepped on stage, had great success as an amateur. Like, you don't plan it to be a lifelong journey. And it sounds like for you, this is going to be a lifelong journey. Like, it's never going to go away. You're always going to train. You're always going to follow some sort of diet regimen. I don't see you falling off and sailing into the sunset and just not. Maybe.
No. When I am done with competing, I'll still be in the industry some way, somehow. But, you know, I don't like to overthink things. You know, But yeah, I went further than I ever thought possible. I never thought I could make a job out of this. You know, I was a bartender one day in Miss Bikini Olympia Nets, and I was like, oh, wow, I should take this fitness thing more seriously. So it's so crazy, like, how far I've come. Because even when I turned pro, like, that in itself was like, whoa, such an accomplishment. And I said, man, my goal is just to win one pro show. And I think that's the pinnacle of my career. That would need losing. And then
Now you're on a run for 50.
yeah, it's like, how did I do that? But I'm just enjoying it. So yeah, I think everything right now is icing on the cake. But
Do you know how many titles exist in Las Vegas right now for Olympia titles?
no, let it count.
12. There's 12 Olympia winners. Well, I'm including Sean because he was here when he pat, but 12 because Hidataya was 11 and Keon 12. Because you don't look around, you start thinking, you're like, Jay's here, and Flex Lewis is here, and Iris is here, and Hidataya is here, Mark Anthony, and Jen Dory, and Latoria, and Shanique Grant, and Danny Hester, and it's just you.
You're in the Mecca.
Yeah,
Is this the most comfortable place you think for training for this?
I swear it used to be like Venice, right? That was like the Mecca where all the bodybuilders hang out. Now the cool place is Vegas. But yes, Vegas is the most convenient city. And weather's great. A lot of great gyms, a lot of great people. And there's always seminars and shows happening here, which is a plus.
60th anniversary coming up in 2024, the Miss Olympia.
That's amazing.
That'd be great to win that contest, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You put that put into your mind.
I wonder if they'll do, like, when Phil won the 50th, it was a gold statue. Gold. It was a Sandow gold. I wonder if they'll do that for each of the divisions this year.
I don't know, 50 is kind of like a way more of a benchmark, benchmark. I don't know, you know.
I think 60s, it is too.
Well, I mean, you could say that then for
Every decade.
but
So hopefully they'll do a gold one. You can bring the gold one home.
How many Arnold titles do you have?
2 Ohio and
And when you met Arnold for the first time, were you nervous or?
I don't think I had a chance to be nervous because next thing I knew, I won. I was so excited, and then he comes walking with the mic. So
And he asked you like, how do you train for this? I remember.
yeah. Oh, and then the following year, in 2015 when I won, this kind of like went a little bit viral. But he was like, "So, have you ever competed at this show before?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I won it last year." And I didn't mean to sound like smart about it. I just didn't know what else.
I love it.
Didn't mean it to be like rude. And then the crowd was like, "Oh," and I was like, and then it was like on like some of these obscure news articles and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not mean to like. I mean, it didn't make me look bad necessarily. It made him look bad, but I didn't mean to put him.
What did he say after that? I remember.
I won it last year.
I think if I remember right, the same thing happened to Angelica, except she won Ohio the one year, and then or one show, and then the next one was Arnold, Australia. And when he walked over, he's like, kind of like you again. They just saw you 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't expect him to memorize it.
Of course, yeah.
Got a lot going on. I didn't get offended.
I know, but you walk around the expo as a teenager, high school, whatever, and you see, Arnold just to make his way through. It was like a huge deal back then because he was like a mega movie star, right? And then you're standing next to the stage. I know, I won the show 3 times, so I was like 3 years in a row, by the way. So it was kind of like a repetitive thing. And that at that point was like, wow, I'm taking one more step towards the Olympia, which the Olympia was that was my ultimate. But you won right out of the gate, which is crazy. I mean, you didn't have to work your way. Like I was second, I was second to last. That kind of instant stardom. Like, now coming back, is it more motivating when you're chasing or when you're winning that title?
Well,
because you said that the 3 years kind of got to you, the pressure. Did you feel any relief when you didn't win it and now trying to chase it and coming close? Does it give you more motivation, or will you feel you were more motivated when you were champion?
I'm more motivated now, honestly. I'm way more motivated now because it's like, I feel like these last 2 years I've been in the mix, and I'm like, well.
But your cheering section's a lot bigger, Ash. Like you have fans all over the world, and like a lot of people now, your notoriety's become bigger. You're one of the bigger bikini competitors in social media, right?
I think you probably have the largest following.
It depends on what it means.
Yeah, but a lot of these other girls don't even have Facebook followings like that. You have both. I mean, Facebook's where you drive the revenue.
But you have a huge audience pushing you, so you're more motivated now, as you've been more competitive all these years. I mean, like you wake up every day, drink birdie. And what do you think when you wake up? Is it routine? Is it like you drink water, or you like get into emails, or do you do diet stuff? Like, what do you do at that time?
I wake up a little bit, just scroll on whatever. We still want to watch videos, just try to wake up a little bit more. But I'll probably eat and then go work out. Sometimes it depends. Like sometimes different housework.
See, now if I wake up in the middle of the night, like 3:30 or 4, I'm gonna text her just to see if she responds to that.
Yeah. Like, if she's awake, let's see.
Better the time, and then wake up till 9.
Wow, you slept in.
No, because the time change is still messed up.
Someone messaged me this morning like, "Oh, are you still in Sweden time?" I'm like, "I've already been back to Vegas. I've been to Florida and back again. Like, my time's completely screwed."
What do you want to leave us with? Tell us a little bit about what the future. So you're gonna have a little hiatus. You're gonna start. You already know when you don't have to announce it, but when is your competitive season gonna start?
Well, that will depend on my recovery. Maybe April or May.
Okay.
Maybe. But I want to get right back into it because, like I said, I got a long year ahead, so I got to get it.
Right. And Olympia is when next year? October, right?
Second week of October this year. Second week of October.
Because that being just gapped it a little closer.
So I do.
That's true. That's true.
The most of the European shows are after.
Yeah, and I feel way less pressure after the Olympia. Like it weights off my shoulders, and I can just compete even more.
So since today is Steve Weinberger's birthday, are you going to go on record now saying you're going to go into New York Pro and get that title?
Depends on her recovery.
Well, that's in May. She'll be good by then.
It's not the recovery. It's more of like I need to see the whole list to plan out like my clusters of shows. I got to be very strategic about this. The clustering of my shows so that I can make the most of the year.
She wants to, go to the Singapore one, the Vietnam one, the Philippines.
Yeah, I want to make little clusters and have fun with it. Yeah.
We'll take a road trip with Ashley Kay to watch her compete.
We appreciate you coming on. You've been a talk for such a long time about coming on our podcast, and I know you have your success. Shout out to your podcast. So you're going to be doing that every single week, right? Right now you're doing it. So we appreciate you coming on. Thank you. We wish you the best success, and we look forward to see you crush them next year and lead into the Olympia. It's going to be a big one.
Let's do it. We're done.